Talking to the moon, trying to get to you. In hopes you'll...
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. So as far as yesterday's big non-event, which is essentially what it turned out to be, ultimately, guys, the FOMC met, and the conclusion is basically that they're not going to do anything. They're not going to change anything. They're just going to keep things how they are, and we'll have to see what they do the next time they meet come March. So how did markets react? Well, to be quite honest with you, there was a little bit of volatility during the announcement. However, right now you'll notice that we are still holding very nicely on this support. So there is a possibility that although this may not be the lowest price we see for Bitcoin, that the bottom could actually be very close to being in. But outside of talking about the short-term Bitcoin price action, which we are going to do today, there is some massive news for Bitcoin, a fundamental shift in the perception of Bitcoin right now. If you guessed it, a lot of it does have to do with the fact that Russia has changed their stance. In fact, Vladimir Putin came out and said that they're not looking to ban crypto. In fact, they may be looking to embrace crypto as well as mining and even look to tax it. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. There is something else major happening in the background that I believe is incredibly bullish for Bitcoin in the mid to long term. And there is also some breaking news coming out of the UK that I think also backs that up as well. So if you're interested in hearing all about that, make sure you get subscribed, turn on the bell notification, and let's dive in super quick to the chart. So not too much has changed. As I said, I do believe that the bottom is relatively in. You know, we have been talking about this crazy sort of M-shaped pattern where we come back down to this bottom right here, potentially maybe touching $29,000, $28,000. However, it is possible that this wick that we had down to $33,000 could be the bottom, since that $33,000 level was of a lot of interest previously during 2021. You can see we bottomed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in this area, and we also just held that support as well. And we have bounced off of that. So like I said, short-term price action, not necessarily saying we're going to go to the moon, but it does look pretty good, considering that we didn't have a massive dump when the FOMC came out with the news yesterday when Powell was speaking. Now, granted, you may be saying, well, we didn't see a pump either. So fundamentally, you know, if they're coming out and saying they're not going to change things, shouldn't we have seen a positive reaction in the markets? Well, I believe if we also just simply have a look at the S&P chart, there was a little bit of a bounce back, but ultimately this big fall right here was most likely the markets pricing in the possibility of that bearish news, right? So if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, we are still very, very clearly inside of this descending wedge, and there is still that possibility of a breakout to the upside. Doesn't mean that we still can't come down and retest this bottom, like I said, around the $29,000 level. Still would put us inside of this falling wedge. However, as I was saying, I do believe that the bottom is close. Oftentimes, you do need to put in that structure the same way that we did back here multiple times, right? We built the support, we built the base, and then we simply continue to the upside. Having a look right here, it looks very good on the spot chart as well. This is actually the Binance chart, and you can see that this actually had a perfect retest as well, this being the 7-day chart as opposed to the 5-day chart over on the CMEs, and we are still sitting above the 100 daily moving average, and we have not broken market structure. We are still technically putting in higher highs and higher lows. Now, if you're wondering who has been selling Bitcoin, well, guess what, guys? There is even more evidence that points to the fact, and this is from Into the Block, they say that our balance by time held indicator shows how traders addresses holding less than $1 million decreased their supply by 36%. over the past 30 days. And you can obviously see by this chart that once again, it was a lot of people getting into Bitcoin recently, freaking out, and unfortunately, a lot of them actually panic sold for a loss. I hope that's not you out there panic selling because you bought at 55 and now it's down at 33. You know, well, it's a little higher than 33 obviously today, but My point is, you can obviously see that this is not the strong hands. This is not the hodlers. This is not the long-term Bitcoin holders. This is very new coins that were bought, and then those same new coins were sold. So, you know what, guys? Good riddance to them. Let them go. Obviously, they don't have the stomach to be in these markets. Good. They can sell their Bitcoin to us, and we will happily buy it for cheap, right? Now, here's something to note. Also, speaking of people selling, well, it looks like according to their Q4 2021 performance indicator, Tesla did not sell any of their Bitcoin. Now, remember, they previously sold 10%. They were testing liquidity, but as of today, they're still holding all of the rest of their Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So Tesla was not selling. This is verifiable. They still have $1.26 billion worth. Now, a lot of people, including myself, do believe that occasionally we do have these open interest situations. We have leverage getting out of control. But like Checkmate pointed out, Bitcoin critics do love to claim that Bitcoin is a Ponzi built on unsustainable leverage. High leverage in Bitcoin is when futures are about 2% of the market cap, yet the global financial system is underpinned by hundreds of trillions in bonds, debt leverage, with quadrillions in derivatives on top. And you can actually just see a simple chart right here. I think that the global market derivatives doesn't even come close. Look at this: stocks, bonds, gold, global GDP. We have crypto down here. This little tiny line is crypto. And we have all this interest rate swaps, other derivatives, upwards of 700 trillion just according to this chart alone. So yeah, guys, I think the traditional system has a long way to go until they fix it. Currently, what they're doing right now is essentially just putting the Band-Aid on. And really, all we got out of yesterday's situation was they're just stringing us along again. Oh, well, we'll come back in March and we'll see how things go. Historically, guys, let's be honest, all they do is put the Band-Aid on, right? They fix the problem for a couple months, people cheer, yay, awesome, they're trying to lower the debt, and then what do they do next year? Well, they end up going back to exactly what they did originally. Inflation continues upwards, and it's probably higher than they're even reporting right now. CPI is around 7%, although I highly doubt that that's accurate. We're probably already in the double digits. Let's be totally honest with ourselves. But let's get to the big news of today. I want to try to keep this video nice and short, and if you do like shorter videos, I know they're very rare, do give the thumbs up if you appreciate that. But let's talk about what's happening right now. So Russia's president, Vladimir Putin, and this is just part one, so stick around, okay? This is just the first part of it, is reportedly backing plans for regulating crypto mining in the country. Putin's plan will see crypto mining restricted to regions in the country with excess electric supply. The plan will also involve levying taxes on approved cryptocurrency mining establishments in the country. Now, we had heard that there was supposedly this blanket ban that was happening. Well, it actually says that he counter-called the central bank's blanket ban on cryptocurrencies, and at the time, President Putin stated that the country could gain, quote, competitive advantage from allowing crypto mining activities. Why do we care? Why is this big news? Well, we already know the situation with Russia. We know how the U.S. feels about falling behind in these circumstances, right? Now, if Russia is coming out and they are saying that they are interested in crypto mining, they think that it will give them a competitive advantage to other nations, and they're looking to regulate it and also look to tax it, this could put a lot of pressure on a lot of other countries considering getting into crypto as well, even with the U.S. alone. What this could essentially do is create a race between countries for the power. Now that China officially banned it and there's no mining in China, well, that leaves it open on the table for a lot of other adoption from the US, from Russia. And guess what, guys? You could see right here, this is actually what Charles Edwards said. I was going to get to his point, but he did say once any competitive economic country adopts Bitcoin, it becomes necessary for the others to have some. Even if they think it will fail, they can't afford the risk that it actually takes off. So you can actually see, and actually I was going to get to a different piece of news in a second, but there is that big argument about Bitcoin electricity, consumption and power consumption and all this other stuff. Well, you can actually see that within the last quarter of the year, last year, the global Bitcoin mining sector powered by renewable power grew by 1%. And get this, guys, it grew from 1% all the way to 58.5%. Now, how can you say that they're not taking initiative? They clearly are. They're obviously looking for renewable resources for mining Bitcoin. This is good. This is what they want to see, right? The BMC published a report in their fourth quarter. They emphasized technological efficiency, electricity consumption, and sustainable power mix. So the BMC stands for the Bitcoin Mining Council, which was established in May, and it is a worldwide forum of Bitcoin mining firms, 100% voluntary, by the way. And this survey summed up information on sustainable energy from miners, making up over 46% of the overall Bitcoin network. As reported by the study, the members of the BMC are curbing electricity, having 66.1% in the sustainable energy mix. So I think we can kind of throw this argument out. Yes, they like to kind of keep stringing it along in Bitcoin and energy consumption. But look, guys, nations are looking to adopt it. The U.S. is already doing Bitcoin mining right now. We have some down in Florida. We have some in Texas. There's a few spread out in other places. And if Russia does look to try to have that competitive advantage over the other countries, I definitely could see it become a Bitcoin race, a race to not only hold Bitcoin, but to become the leaders in the mining space. And imagine what that would do for the demand, the value, and the fundamentals for Bitcoin. I think that this is actually extraordinarily bullish, regardless of short-term price action. Don't get caught up in that crap, you know? Yeah, we could go down to 33, we can go down to 28, but when you see stuff like this happening in the background and you're panic selling at 28, 27, 30, that is absolutely insane, guys. These are the discounts that we need to jump on, and check this out. So we've had a lot of different people. We had the mayor of New York looking to accept his some of his paychecks in Bitcoin. We've seen the mayor of Miami. We've also seen multiple different athletes and, prolific figures in the space. Well, now we have Christopher, I've never pronounced his name, D. Bukalair. Sorry, butchered his name. Long story short, he's a member of the Parliament of Brussels Capital Region, and he has volunteered to receive his salary in Bitcoin. His monthly paycheck of 5,500 euros will be automatically converted to Bitcoin via Belgium cryptocurrency trading platform Bit4U. Why is this important? Well, in his own words, to quote him, he said, "I am the first in Europe, not in the world, but I am the first in Europe who wants to put a spotlight on cryptocurrencies with such a move." This is spreading, my friends. These are the dominoes falling. This is how it goes. First, it starts off with an athlete asking to be paid with Bitcoin. Now you're seeing actual people who have political power actually looking to get paid in Bitcoin as well. So with the trend of preferring Bitcoin over cash, and also what's been happening with the mining, you have to kind of say to yourself, this doesn't look like it's going away any soon. So I understand if you feel kind of short-term bearish, if you feel like maybe the markets are a little sluggish, even if we don't have the greatest Q1 for Bitcoin, I don't think it matters. I think fundamentally, if you're paying attention, if you're really reading into what's happening in the background, there's no possible way that you could not be bullish, that you could not be excited about what is happening for Bitcoin and the future of digital assets as a whole. And before we end, I do want to give one massive, massive shout out to Jordan, the martini guy over at TMG Crypto, because as far as I'm concerned, he pretty much broke this news. Maybe by now you've heard about it, but he essentially came out with this video a few hours ago saying UK government intends to be the crypto world leader. UK making Bitcoin national currency. Now, of course, that is a little crazy to think about the national currency of the UK being Bitcoin, but if you watch this clip from this video where he discusses what is going on right now and how these guys are feeling the threat and they don't want to get left behind either, I think this even helps to glue together the narrative even more. So shout out to Jordan. With your permission, I'd like to use this clip, so check this out, guys.
The point is, they're now starting to speak more positively about it. In fact, yesterday in UK Parliament, Matt Hancock, the one and only, not that you may perhaps trust what the man has to say anymore, but point is, Matt Hancock stood up in Parliament yesterday and spoke very positively about cryptocurrency and fintech innovations. Now, what he said is essentially along the lines of, look at how social media disrupted the traditional media space. Do you not expect the same with digital currency to affect the traditional currency space? Good point. Been saying it for years, but it turns out he finally listened. Anyway, watch this clip of Matt Hancock in Parliament yesterday, and then we're going to discuss.
Will the Minister ensure that at the same time as he develops this policy, we ensure the UK is also home to new innovations like fintech, like the extraordinary growth of cryptocurrencies? These innovations have the potential to disrupt finance, just as social media has disrupted communications or online shopping has changed retail. And post-Brexit, the UK has the chance to be the home of fintech, which can not only be an economic driver, but also help to cut fraud and financial crime because of the transparency that it brings. So will you make sure that we get this right and make sure new legislation is fit for the future so Britain can be home of this revolution?
That's my right honourable friend, and he's absolutely right. That's why we've got to get this legislation right, because what we don't want to do, we want to tackle economic crime. What we don't want to do is stifle innovation. We don't want to stifle investment in this country, which makes us the highest for foreign direct investment in the EU and in Europe, and one of the highest indeed across the world. Because this is a great place to do business, to set up, grow and scale companies.
So ultimately, what I think we can take away from this is that the fundamentals have absolutely never been better for Bitcoin, not to mention the fact that the hash rate has hit an all-time high, and we've seen on-chain data that clearly shows the miners are not looking to sell. They are hodling. They believe in it, and not even the fact that they're just hodling Bitcoin and they're holding it, they're not selling it, but the hash rate is increasing, which means they're turning on even more miners, which means that they're even more confident about the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So if you're freaked out by what we're seeing right now, ultimately, guys, I really just think this is a giant range of accumulation. We did have this high, we had this low right here. And what I believe is that this area right here is really just a massive, massive dragged out accumulation area for the institutions, for those who got in late. And you know what? Great. Everyone that bought up here and panic sold, amazing. Good. Get out of the space. We don't need you. We're fine. I'm sure that whoever panic sold is going to FOMO back in at the 70K high break, which is probably going to happen, later on this year or something like that. But ultimately, guys, do not be distracted by this price noise. Zoom out. Have a look. I can't zoom out. This actually isn't the full chart, but you guys know the logarithmic chart of Bitcoin. You know that Bitcoin goes up and to the right essentially forever. So ultimately, guys, I think the bottom is very close. I don't know that it's 100% in as far as the lowest level that we're going to see, but I do believe that we are forming the bottom. We are getting close to the capitulation. And, another thing too is if we do go over to the Bitcoin hash ribbon right here, you can actually see that, yes, we did have one flashback here, which suggests that the previous swing low shouldn't go lower than $29,000, $28,800 for Bitcoin. But even if we do happen to potentially see another minor capitulation somewhere over here, provided that we don't have an astronomical crash until that point, then all signs are essentially pointing to this being a massive buying opportunity for crypto. And even if we do wick down into the high 20,000 super quick, it doesn't matter. If you're trying to time the bottom, good luck. Good luck trying to time the bottom. Most people can't time the bottom. This is an absolutely amazing opportunity, not financial advice, of course, but you know what I'm doing to accumulate Bitcoin. 50% discount. I will take that. Bullish fundamentals, amazing news coming out. Could we potentially have countries fighting over Bitcoin mining and hash rate and crypto and Bitcoin? And I don't know. It's a lot of good news. It's a lot of good news, guys. You gotta just sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and hopefully dollar cost average into Bitcoin. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. I love you. You're awesome. Enjoy your day. Tomorrow's the weekend, so we know things can get a little bit crazy on Fridays to Sundays, right? But nevertheless, overall, I maintain my bullish outlook on Bitcoin. I am not selling my Bitcoin. I am buying more Bitcoin at these levels. I will be buying more Bitcoin at lower levels, and that's just what I'm doing. I'm just a guy on the internet. Don't do what I do, but hey guys, the past 5 years, I'll tell you what, it's been working out for me, so hopefully it'll work out for you as well. You're awesome. My name's K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie, and if you haven't seen these videos popping up right here, right now, check them out, and until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.